Oh boy, what's going on there, YouTube? This is SCO0320 representing JVS. Here I have like a huge list I'm gonna get to very shortly in a separate video, but it's gonna be really fun to go through that. But I'm here to talk about the movie Okja. This was a very surprising movie for me because I think about maybe 6 months ago when it came out on Netflix, a lot of my friends were like, "Man, you gotta see this, man, you gotta see this." And I wasn't pressed to see it, you know, I was like, I didn't know what it was about. And on top of that, I never reacted to the first trailer for it, so I was like, I always put off, I was going to react to the trailer, then I was going to watch it, I never did. So this one was actually a hidden gem, full of emotional impact, understanding of, like, man, the way that food is processed and how devastating, you know what I'm saying, like how we get our meat, and the lengths that people are willing to go, regardless if this takes place kind of in a future or it's like really, you know, over, you know, I don't know, exaggerated to an extent, as far as having a mutated pig that looks like a cross between, you know, a pig, a rhinoceros, and an elephant. But there's still the foundation of the understanding of we do have mutated produce out there and what is happening, you know. This film really puts it right in your face in every single way possible, because you become immediately attached to Okja and his, you know, female companion, and Mija. And from the very opening, you understand that Okja is very intelligent. Like, it's not just, you know, he's an animal, he's doing this, he's doing that. It's the fact that he tried to protect her life. He has an understanding of what could happen here. Like, they communicate, she talks in his ear. He's also, or she's also programmed in the sense of having like a hard drive that's built into the side of her ear. The actors in this is really interesting. You got Tilda Swinton, Paul Dano, who's becoming a really good actor, man. Like, he's been in some stuff. Jake Gyllenhaal, which I'll talk about him in a second. And then you got my man, I forget how to pronounce his name, Gyllenhaal, Estilo. I totally messed up his name, I apologize. But then you got Seo-hyun and Lily Collins and a slew of other good actors. But the film is very intriguing because of the director, for me personally. Joon-ho Bong directed a horror movie that I loved in The Host. And I've been waiting for him to make the second one for years. He wrote it, he directed it in 2006. In addition to that movie, he made Mother, but Snowpiercer was a hidden gem that I thought should have been nominated in 2013. I thought it was one of the best movies by far. And for him to also be involved in this one, I was like, this is amazing to see where this is going to go. Either way, though, as far as the movie is concerned, I thought that the CG for Okja and the way they were able to do a lot of the cinematography was masterful. The CG for this movie is actually really good. There are moments, of course, where you know for a fact this is a CG character. But I think it's the way that the CG character interacts with everyone else that I thought was a technical masterpiece. Just because when Okja was going through the mall, when, you know, she interacted with everybody else, when she was being tortured, when all these different things were happening to her, I felt like, man, this is really happening. And I think a part of that is the atmospherics. Like when they had her chained up somewhere and it was kind of like this gruff moment with Jake Gyllenhaal and he's communicating with her, like they committed to being with this CG character. I'm not sure how they did it. They had like actually something there that they were kind of pressed up against. But like from the moment that you see Okja to the moment, you know, the end of the movie, like you're just totally invested in this is a real thing. This is a real creature. This is something that deserves preservation of life. And I think that was one of the biggest accomplishments with it. But the other part of that was these strange characters. You know what I'm saying? Like Tilda Swinton plays two different characters in Lucy and Nancy. And like I believe they're two different characters. I believe that she has a twin sister. Paul Dano as Jay is one of the weirdest characters because he's very devoted to the craft that he's trying to protect and obtain, all these different kind of things for preservation of life for animals. Like, I believe that this man's crazy. But I understand his value in what he's trying to convey to this girl and to everybody else in the world. And their choice to not use, like, weapons. I thought that was really interesting how they use unique tactics to be able to do that. Jake Gyllenhaal, I thought his character was bananas. I didn't know Jake Gyllenhaal could go down those lengths. I knew Jake Gyllenhaal was a great actor, but this character is one of the most, spineless, I don't want to call him dark, just misguidedly, I don't know, like, he just was ooky. Like, I mean, when I think about his character, and I know that he probably had like a past where he really much so cared about animals, or he at least lived for that moment, but what his character that he presented in this movie, like, I was just like, I don't trust this dude. Like, this dude is sick. You know, he's all about the money. He's all about him. But how Jake Gyllenhaal was able to, you know, project his voice and how his mannerisms were, how eclectic he was, it was just so over the top that I was like, he is owning this character. Like, I was really surprised by Jake Gyllenhaal's performance in this. I haven't seen his role in Stronger. I'll get into that in the next video I'm going to make soon. But I thought that he did a really good job in this one because I love to hate him. Like, the moment where him and Okja were face-to-face later on in the third act, I was like, I hate this guy. Like, no. Somebody put him in his place, because no. The other thing about this movie is that this movie is not for kids. Just on a gore and violence level, like, to the lengths that, like, I'm sitting there watching Okja getting, like, abused, mutilated, sexually abused technically, it's just not for kids. So if you have children that are trying to look at this movie, I wouldn't recommend it. I think the message is very strong as far as what, you know, what does it take to get our produce out, and what are we doing to the things that we're eating, and do we need to do this? That's the other side about this as far as the story is concerned, is the fact that, yes, this was a genetically altered pig in extent, but it almost is like a whole different species of animal that they've created and they're enslaving. And the reality is, they seem way more intelligent than you give them credit for. Like, especially the third act, you start to really understand that. And I think the part that got me emotional was when Mija and Okja meet up in the third act on stage, and like, Okja was just so overwhelmed with pain and depression that he didn't even recognize her. I think that was one of the most impactful emotional moments to me. The second one was definitely the third act, when they went and they saw the real concentration camps, what I would call, and the lengths of this other, you know, two other, you know, creatures trying to preserve like a young, like, I was like, I started feeling it. I started feeling it right in my heart. And I think that from that standpoint, this movie does a really good job of conveying its emotions without necessarily adding a whole bunch of added dialogue. Yes, there are eclectic, crazy characters like Jake Gyllenhaal, and then there's characters like, you know, Dano's character, just over the top and weird, but have really strict ideals. But then the real core of this movie is Mija and Okja, who don't really speak any English at all in this movie, but the message is conveyed as to their devotion and passion and love for each other, and respect of preservation of life. Like, the way that Mija sees Okja is like, not just a pet, like, this is her family, because, you know, you find out later on what happens to her family, and then her grandfather, man. Like, I was just like, man, this dude. But anyway, I don't know what to give this movie. Shoot, I never even thought about it. I just wanted to talk to you guys about it because it's really good. I give it a 9 out of 10. I thought it was really good, refreshing film. It was definitely on the list of movies that I really wanted to watch and check out. Oh yeah, shout out to the artist that made this. If you don't know who this is Marcus Williams. You can check him out at Marcus the Visual. This is Diana and her sister. Yeah, he's got some amazing art. Tuskegee Ayers, he's the one that does the art and illustration for those. But hopefully y'all enjoy this review. Keep it locked. JVS, we ain't gonna stop. I got one more video today, and I'm gonna try to unbox this bad boy. Talk to y'all soon. Peace, guys.